Statue of Liberty, a gift from the people of France. There are words we know so well. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to be free. That's the spirit that makes us American. That's the spirit that binds us to France. That's the spirit we need today.
Ah, okay, that explains it. Joining us now, Bill Kristol, editor for the Weekly Standard and ABC News contributor. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well. Did you catch President Obama's joint press conference with the French president?
I did. I actually caught that passage you just played. Very annoying, I thought.
The passage, the quoting of the passage was annoying?
Well, it's sort of like there's a terrorist attack, and instead of quoting inspirational words of, Roosevelt or Churchill or Kennedy or some war leader of America who, we're going to find them, we're going to defeat them, we're going to exact justice from them, we're going to make ourselves and the civilized world safe, we're going to defeat these thugs and terrorists and jihadists. No, he's talking about, we should be nice to the huddled masses from all over the world, which we are. We have a very generous immigration system, so that's not really an issue. But what does that have to do with a terrorist attack, honestly?
No, absolutely. All right, what do you make of the shooting down of the Russian plane, and then the reported shooting down of the Russian rescue helicopter by Syrian rebels? They fired at the pilots of the plane when they were shot down. We don't know if they're alive or dead. You would think. I would have thought that Putin would, really growl like a bear and do something and at least threaten military response. But so far he just said it was a stab in the back. He hasn't done anything or threatened to do anything militarily.
Yeah, but he is more of a, speak softly sometimes than act suddenly and abruptly, and he could do something. I wouldn't be that surprised if he tried to destroy some Turkish planes or, bomb something in Turkish, near the border on the Turkish side. And of course, Turkey's a NATO ally. They're not a very good NATO ally right now, but they are a NATO ally. So it has the potential to escalate in all kinds of ways. And, again, this is what happens when there's a reason American statesmen tried hard to keep Russian and Soviet and then Russian airplanes and troops out of the Middle East. And it was partly a balance of power question. And, we wanted to be the country that kind of, arranged things there and not let the Soviets do it or the Russians, but also because just the more powers you get messing around in that part of the world, the more dangerous it gets for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, speaking of Turkey and our great ally, Turkey, and the member of NATO, Turkey, which really boggles my mind from the beginning. I don't know if you saw this. We're going to play it for the folks here, and it's and for you to hear. It's the Israeli women's basketball team at a qualifying match for the 2017 Euro basketball tournament. They're in Turkey. The Israeli national anthem is playing, and here's what happens. Throwing stuff at the women on the court, the Israeli women's team, and of course you couple that with the couple days after Paris at a soccer match in Turkey, they started chanting Allah Akbar and Martyrs Never Die. What are we doing, aligning ourselves with a country like Turkey?
Well, I think it's a question people are increasingly asking. Of course, these kinds of demonstrations against Israeli, athletes and Israeli citizens happen in Europe, unfortunately, as well as in Turkey. So you could ask the same question. Maybe we should ask the same question about some of these European countries. They're the ones who launched the boycott of the goods made, in Judea and Samaria as much as or more than the Turks, I guess. But no, look, I think Turkey's a big problem. I don't know, I don't know if there's much we could have done about it. The Islamists, this is what happens. You let Islamism loose, whatever you want to call it, radical Islam, jihadism loose. They get some victories. They start infecting other countries. Political leaders make their own calculations on what side they want to be on. And Erdogan, maybe from the beginning, has been on that side, but he's certainly further along than he might have been if he thought we were top dog, the jihadists were losing everywhere. You better be friendly with the U.S. or else. You better be friendly with Israel or else. That's really not the perception around the Middle East, and I think you pay a price for it in all kinds of ways.
All right, domestic politics. Ted Cruz closed the gap in a virtual tie now in Iowa with Donald Trump. Do you see this as a surge for Cruz because of Cruz, or a surge for Cruz because of Trump, if you will?
And because I think maybe Carson a little weakened. I think Cruz has had a very careful, steady strategy of trying to emerge as the conservative alternative, certainly to the establishment candidates, to Bush and Rubio and those folks, but also to Trump, who isn't acceptable to a lot of conservatives, even though he's tapped into a certain kind of, anti-elitist spirit. And I think Carson, looking a little less ready, combined with Cruz's good performances in the debates and his careful strategy of speaking to conservative concerns, has now put Cruz very close to the top in Iowa. I think Cruz, who knows, it's 2-3 months away still, but Cruz could well win Iowa. That certainly would make him one of the final 3 or 4. Just looks more and more like we're going to get who knows? These things can change so quickly, as we know. But if you had to look now, you got to say it looks like a Trump, Cruz, Rubio, and maybe Carson final 3 or final 4. I think Carson is at most risk because his virtues, which are considerable as a personal matter, probably aren't really what people might be looking for as a kind of war leader and someone who can deal with this chaos around the world. Trump's a tough guy. Rubio knows foreign policy. Cruz knows foreign policy as well. You can sort of see how those 3 would emerge. So that would be a very unpredictable race, I think, among those 3.
Yeah, going to be interesting. Bill, have a wonderful holiday with your wonderful family. We'll speak to you soon, sir.
Same to you, Steve. Have a
Thank you. Bill Kristol, ladies and gentlemen. The Malzberg panel is next. Rick Unger and C. Edmund Wright. Don't go away.